Hi, welcome to this video series covering the features of a toolbox called HyperWorks LiftShip. In this video, I'll be covering specifically the post icon here in the toolbox. And yeah, it'll be the last of the series. So let's get to it. So what we'll first do is go ahead and load our model, our hypermesh model. And then we'll go ahead and scroll on over to our post tab. And from that model, namely on the material cards, it's going to extract that yield value. I mentioned this in my first video. This was the material S1. I guess I could just go over to it real quick here. And if we activated the S1, and it's this limit value. So if it's currently not in your model for some reason, you could actually add it here, enter in the value, and then just reload the post-processing tool, and it'll pick that up automatically. You could export it, export those yield stress values based on the material name. You could also import it. So like, let's say you had a variety of material names that you typically use. You just want to import it into the database. You can do that here as well. Okay, so this is probably the easiest part. This is the most automated part. What we'll do is, let me go ahead and navigate over to my results. This will be my turn 90 contact model, and I'm going to load the .fem file, and then it'll automatically pick up the H3D file that's in that folder. Otherwise, you got to navigate to it. Then we'll go ahead and hit load, and just kind of sit back and let it load the template. So it's going to be loading. If you're kind of new to the HyperWorks framework, what it's going to do is load several pages of results, and each of these pages will have a number of windows. So here you can see two windows on page 2. Page being notated up here in the upper hand corner. It's a little tiny, but that's where our page is. So this will be page 3 with 2 windows, and then this will be our final last pages. And just gotta give it a couple more moments, letting it update. So the HyperWorks framework allows multiple clients to be loaded, and here you can see the HyperView client was loaded, and then we have a HyperMesh client, which is what we are in. Again, all under the umbrella name of HyperWorks. So here you can see we have on page 2, we have 2 windows displaying the displacement magnitude with our kind of rainbow colored displacement contour, and then this is the same contour, just a different orientation of the model that feedback for the project said was of interest. So this orientation was of interest. So if we go ahead and scroll it over to the next couple of pages, this one we have our factor of safety calculation being done. So if we click in the window, you can see you've got this nice little blue cyan, and allows us to kind of scroll in and see where that minimum or maximum factor of safety is. Actually, namely over here is our factor of safety. Apologize. This is our sine von Mises stresses, and so you can see we have our tension and compression in this area. I don't plan on having this an exhaustive video on how HyperView works and post-processing. Really, I just want to highlight what the LiftShip toolbox automation is. Again, it just lays out the model very quickly in an efficient way, giving you very quick results. So you can make that go no go kind of judgment call. Maybe from here you would look at the factor of safety and note around maybe this pad eye that we have a very low factor of safety, and from there you would want to go back to the hypermesh model, make some modifications, maybe change the size of the pad eye, add some supporting structure, possibly even add another pad eye at another near location, and so forth. So the idea is really to get you, the engineer, to actual information. and go ahead and keep on scrolling. And this is kind of a unique kind of page for the cable contact modeling. Is here we actually have the single point constraint forces. This would be kind of the forces that the cranes, or I should say the cables, would be undergoing. And kind of see the nice little arrows that we have here. But yeah, this is SPC forces XYZ. And then in this window here, we actually have the element forces for the 1D elements. So those are C-gap 1D elements. This is our cable. And if you recall, we do have friction in the model. And so we kind of see as we wrap, progressively wrap around the structure, we get the decreasing stress. We have friction and so forth. Let's see here. This kind of, this makes sense too, that we have a higher lifting force on this cable, which is listed here, in contrast to the other one. And last but not least, and this is this last page is really used as kind of a verification of how the cable modeling is being performed. So we have our different color coding. For blue is open, green is our kind of a closed, so it's contacting but slipping, and then we have like a sticking, and then we have frozen. And this allows us to just at least do a gut check to make sure that the cable modeling is reasonable. What we might want to do in this case is go back in here, and particularly if the factor of safety is pretty close to 1, we might want to kind of make the cable elements that we defined during the load manager, the lift manager, we might want to refine that and add some additional nodes to that area. Otherwise, I mean, from a kind of just a gut check of what's happening with the cable as it has no contact in this area, which would be to be expected, and then as it progressively goes around the structure, we do have some contact. So I feel like all of those different results were important just to make a quick review. And then, as I had mentioned, we can go back into our HyperMesh client, and what you could do is either create a new session, or you could actually load additional results onto this into this session. So it's just going to stack another 4 results right onto what we have right here. And what you'll do is you'll save the session, and it'll save this format for you. A couple other quick things we could do is if we want to automatically generate a report. So what you see here is what you get if you hit the report session creation here. So session report presentation, and let's see here, we'll just maybe put this on the desktop as a test. Something like that. And we'll click export. It's going to go ahead and, as you see it in these windows, just quickly put those into a PowerPoint. Just give it a second here. There we go. And then you can share this with your colleagues, email these to them, let them know go, no go. Maybe we need to add some supporting structure and do another analysis. So, and that's something that you could do with any of these models once they're in the orientation of interest. You can go in and make model changes, add a pad eye, add some supporting structure, add a plate, and so forth to modify it, and do the last step of recheck the elements for the quality and then resubmit the job. But for the most part, your 99% of your meshing and geometry cleanup and all those things should already be done, basically making this the last stage of design iteration fairly user-friendly and quick. So this will conclude this video and the series. I hope you found it helpful. Please leave us feedback on our Altair community forums.